Welcome to another episode of the Cymarshall Law Show, where we stay true to ourselves and never conform, and where we dive deep into the minds of the movers and shakers in music, mental health, and personal development. I'm your host, Cymarshall Law, and today we have a very special guest who's been instrumental in shaping New Jersey hip-hop. Yo, our guest today is none other than Rodney Coursey, the founder of Garden State Hip Hop. From launching his brand in 2009 to producing sold-out shows at the biggest venues in Asbury Park, Rodney has been at the forefront of the New Jersey hip-hop scene. His journey has been a testament to the power of passion, perseverance, and the pursuit of dreams. Rodney's work has not only earned him recognition as a pioneer of the new generation of New Jersey hip-hop, but has also led to collaborations with nationally recognized figures and major brand sponsorships. His story is one of growth, resilience, and relentless dedication to his craft. In today's episode, we'll be diving deep into Rodney's journey, exploring his experiences, challenges, and triumphs. We'll uncover the stories behind his successful PR campaigns, his innovative strategies, and his vision for the future of Garden State hip-hop. So sit back, relax, and join us as we unearth the Garden State groove with Rodney Coursey. This is an episode you won't want to miss. Yo, what up, Rodney? Thanks for coming through to the show.
Woo!
Yo, thank you for coming through, Rodney.
Yo, thank you for having me, and thank you for that intro. That's crazy.
No doubt. It's not crazy. You did everything I just spoke about. It's who you are, and we're blessed.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, man. And it's wild to think how much you've grown. I mean, look at us, look at all of us. You know what I'm saying? How much we've grown since we've got acquainted with each other. You know what I'm saying? I think I discovered your music through Rock the Bells. Shout out to Cal, who's gone on to do successful things in media, working with Complex. I'm not sure if you plan on having him on, but you should definitely reach out to Cal. Shout out to him and everybody in Trenton, New Jersey.
I will. I'm glad you said that.
Yup. Yeah, super dope.
Thank you. Looking back at the past few years, how do you feel like the landscape of New Jersey hip hop evolved since you started Garden State Hip Hop?
Oh man, it's evolved tremendously because there's more platforms now. There are people who were born and raised in New Jersey who have established themselves within the mainstream music industry, and now they want to represent and put on for Jersey the same way I wanted to in 2009.
Right. I feel that. Is there a pivotal moment in your career, like post 2020, that significantly influenced your journey up until now?
That's a really good question. You said post 2020?
Yeah. I wanted something newer because I saw everything older you had done, and I know he's been doing a lot new.
Yeah. So, that's a really good question. I would say for one of my label artists, we collaborated with the Minnesota Vikings to do a halftime show for the 2022 NFL season. So it's in conjunction with the NFL's Crucial Catch Initiative, which is their Cancer Awareness Week. So we partnered with them to do this halftime show for a song that he performed on America's Got Talent. He ended up getting two standing ovations for the song. And what made it so dope was that's the city he's from. We had his family in the audience. It was a song dedicated to his brother who had passed away. And for a guy who started in local music, to create a local moment like that for an artist in his hometown, in front of his hometown team, it just felt full circle.
What's the name of that artist? Is that artist you manage?
I do PR for him. His name is Win Starks.
One Star. So what's the name of that song? Is there anywhere we can find it online to listen to it?
Yes. Actually, the song is doing numbers across across streaming platforms right now because Celine Dion recently sang it in her new Amazon Prime documentary. The song
What?
is called "Who I Am." Yes, sir.
That's crazy. Let's give it
Wow.
that. How have your experiences? How have your experiences at Effective Immediately PR and Big Machine Agency shaped your approach to music publicity today?
Man, another good question. I really learned how to become a publicist at those places. So at that first agency, shout out to my mentor and the woman that gave me my first job in music, Ellen Solis.
Mm,
She was instrumental in the rise of Pearl Jam and Rage Against the Machine.
mm.
I'm deeply involved with a lot of like national artists who were signed to some of the bigger labels. And she gave me the blueprint on how to be an effective communicator and represent artists appropriately,
Mhm.
and just present their stories in a clear, deliberate, and polished manner.
Right,
While being true to myself too, and keeping my voice at the forefront with
right.
my representation. With Big Machine, shout out to my former employers there. I have more free range, so I was just kind of like a wild horse, so to speak,
Hmm.
where they just trusted me enough to use my talents and my gifts to pretty much lead the publicity department.
Right,
And I can say that experience gave me the confidence to ultimately work through my own company
right,
because I was put in scenarios where I had to take the lead, where I had to step up. I had to lead strategy meetings. You have multiple artists and you have to take them to these New York Fashion Week events, and my bosses aren't with me. It's just me. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So not only representing myself in a company, but also being able to think on my feet and just hold it down, and you learn things about yourself when you're put in certain scenarios,
Hmm.
and it just gave me a confidence that I don't think I had until I got that opportunity to really step up and challenge myself in those ways.
Understood. Do you look for artists to do PR for, or do they generally find you? And do you only do PR for music artists, or do you do PR across the board for anything that needs public relations?
Yeah, so for the first part of that question, it's a combination of both. I have a pretty decent reputation throughout the industry, so a lot of work finds me,
Hmm.
thankfully. But I do a lot of cold outreach. Whether it's an artist I'm interested in, a brand I'm interested in. I may say, "Hey, this is who I am. These are my services," and just telling them who I am and making that connection.
Right,
If it makes sense to collaborate in any way, we'll do it. If not, it's cool.
right.
I just like to build new relationships with people.
Mm.
Um, and in terms of clientele, since I've been on my own, I've represented everyone from music artists to authors to I did a project with a tech company.
Mm.
I've represented Golden Globe winning actress Regina Taylor. That was a really cool
Okay.
campaign. So since I've been on my own, my attitude has been if I'm feeling the story and the person, of course, and think I can really represent them and put them in the best possible scenarios to thrive within the media space, we can try to make something happen.
I love to hear that. So you've been recognized by NewJersey.com and Billboard Magazine, among many others. How have these recognitions impacted your work and your influence in the industry?
It's definitely given me more credibility, right?
Hmm.
That's the power of positive press. More credibility. I've become somewhat of like I guess it's funny, thinking about the whole concept of an influencer now. I guess that's what I was back in 2009 as a blogger.
Hmm.
So you have kind of like this online presence, or you're like online famous in a sense. So of course you get more attention in that sense. Um, But I would say more than anything, just the credibility piece and people that have kind of like watched me evolve and grow. It's given me, just people have a lot of respect,
Right.
and I appreciate that because everything I've done and, the peaks and valleys and just the challenges of trying to pursue, your quote unquote dream, man, it's tough,
I already
and,
know.
I'm proud of how far I've come,
Well, New Jersey's proud of you.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that.
Can you share a story about a PR campaign that you led, which challenged you and pushed you out of your comfort zone?
Man, I would say, over the past 3 years, working with Win Starks, who's a pop singer,
Mm,
and, I initially got into the business to be a voice in hip hop, but like they say, when you do good work, you get more work. And then some of the opportunities started presenting themselves in different spaces.
right. I love to hear that.
And I like to embrace those challenges. And I just think I never wanted to be put in a box, especially as a professional in entertainment. And I felt like at times, at different points, I would be like pigeonholed as like an urban music publicist.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I've always kind of viewed that as a little insulting. Like I'm a publicist. I can work with anyone. It
Right.
doesn't just have to be hip hop or R&B.
Right.
So just some of the progress and strides we've made as a team, working with Win, have been awesome, man. And just so many experiences, such as working with the Minnesota Vikings. In February, we did the national anthem with the Brooklyn Nets. Um, so just really just doing a lot of dope stuff, that I didn't think I would be doing. You know what I'm saying? But when you're passionate about something, you're passionate about a project, you have a great team, and everyone is supportive of each other. We just find ways to make things happen. And I'm grateful to be, leading the charge on a lot of these initiatives.
Gotcha. Can you think of what's the most daring thing you've ever done in your career and how did it turn out?
Hmm, man. I mean, I can honestly say taking my first job for the salary that I was offered.
Mm,
And I want younger people to hear this that depending upon your role within the music industry, man, a lot of these jobs are very low paying.
hmm.
I'll just keep it real. I got my first job in the industry at 27 years old. And what I was offered as someone who had a roommate at the time and had adult responsibilities,
Right.
it wasn't the best decision to make financially, but it was something I felt like I needed to do because I had dedicated so much to pursuing this. And I felt like it was my only shot. And striking out, at different labels and having, being so close, but yet so far, when I got that opportunity, I said, hey, I just got to take it. I set some goals and made some promises to myself that I managed to keep. And, the risk was definitely worth the reward.
Right. Right. I love that. I love that answer. So you kind of answered this before, but I'll kind of ask it anyway since I had it as a question. How do you navigate the challenges of racial stigmas in the hip hop industry, and what advice would you give to upcoming artists facing similar challenges?
It's tough to approach when you're the only person in the room and you almost are concerned that with you just like expressing yourself, you may offend the wrong person and it could put you in a weird position professionally. You follow
Right.
me on that?
I am. I am. I
Yeah.
understand.
So it's kind of weird. Can you repeat the question? Because I want to give you an answer, but I'm trying to find a way to put it together. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's all good.
Yeah.
And And I can take this question completely out if you want, or we can
Yeah,
come back to
no,
it.
I want it to be in there. I just want to answer it the right way because I'm really trying to articulate, you know, trying
Gotcha.
to articulate it the appropriate way.
I said, how do you navigate the challenges of racial stigmas in the hip hop industry? And what advice would you give to upcoming artists facing similar challenges?
Yeah. Navigating the race. I'll say education, because so many people have been misinformed as to what hip hop music and culture actually is and what it truly represents.
Mm-hmm.
I can say I've crossed paths with people who their connection to it, like their starting point was like, it wasn't like a KRS-One, it wasn't a Rakim, it wasn't a Yasin Bey, it wasn't a Common Sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was, something that reinforced those stereotypes and racist tropes.
Right.
So I think it's important to educate, especially, people are part of our culture too. You know what I'm saying? Not just people outside of our culture, because like, let's keep it real. There's a lot of people that don't really respect the five elements or care for the five elements or care about Zulu Nation or care about people like T. Eric Monroe. You know what I'm saying? And just this history, this art, this genius that was cultivated by kids in
Right.
an inner city. You know what I'm saying? And that magic. And this is kind of like a sidebar, but I was having a conversation earlier with a friend of mine, an older cat who's a bass player. And I had shared with him the comment that the founder of Rolling Stone magazine made in the New York Times in reference to his book about the masters and geniuses behind rock and roll. And the book is titled The Masters, and he got grilled about not having any females or Black musicians featured in the book.
As he should.
Right. So the journalist from the New York Times calls him out on this, and he says something along the lines about how females and some Black musicians couldn't articulate well enough to be considered masters of rock and roll, which is like insanely, outrageously disrespectful. I mean, disrespectful to the Chuck Berrys, the Muddy Waters, the B.B. Kings, the Jimi Hendrixes, the Little Richards, the Curtis Mayfields,
Mm-hmm.
People like even George Clinton, people that really mastered and created this sound. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say that to say to bring it back to hip hop is we have to learn and nourish this history. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't, in another 20, 30 years, we may be saying that Eminem invented hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And I love M. But if you're not careful and if you don't value and respect your own history, that's going to leave people with an opportunity to rewrite it.
Right. Right. In
Education.
50 years, they might try to say Martin Luther King was a white guy.
Facts.
What is the most innovative or unorthodox strategy you've used in your role as a publicist for any type of act?
Wow, that's another good question. The most unorthodox. Hmm. Damn, that's a really good question. You got me thinking right now.
So my goal with these interviews that I do is to make sure my interviews are not the same as anyone else's.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job. I would say I think I wouldn't necessarily call this unorthodox. I think it was very it was very strategic. So going back to, Win Starks, we've had some challenges, landing some bigger national TV opportunities, right? Performances. So I, as a sports fan, just said to myself, hey, maybe we can collaborate with some sports franchises to perform at one of their games or like a halftime show, because we're talking about, for the most part, billion-dollar franchises with huge diehard fan bases, and we're still getting them in rooms with more than 15,000 people.
Right.
No, so from that one opportunity doing a halftime show with the Vikings of the NFL, that motivated and inspired his label to tap into their resources. So he's done everything: the NBA, MLB, MLS, you know what I'm saying? And it's just
Right.
created like this firestorm of opportunities connecting his music with sports fans. And
Right.
then there's records in his catalog that really align with like the whole sports culture.
Right.
So a really dope idea. And it's that strategy, taking that initiative, it sparked this energy, within our team. And it's really been very, very effective.
I love that answer. I love that answer. How do you balance your various roles in the industry, and what strategies do you use to like stay organized and just stay motivated?
Yeah, well, I mean, the motivation part is kind of easy because I'm just naturally a creative person. Like I live to create. Um, and even if I wasn't doing it professionally, I would be creating to some capacity.
Mhm.
Um, I think with being like organized is, I mean, I try to practice like block scheduling. I've read a lot of stuff on that. Obviously, and just those morning rituals, you try to, have your smoothie, get a nice workout and stretch. Maybe I love to go
Wait,
for.
sorry to stop you. For someone who doesn't know what block scheduling is, like me, what is it?
Oh, so I mean, it's like, so let's say I'm looking at my planner right now. So like maybe like 6 to 9 is like my mind, body, and soul time,
Mhm.
is what I've designated that as. So that could be whatever I want to do. It has to be something for my mind, body, and soul, whether it's going to the park to exercise, going for a jog, go sitting at the beach. That's that window. And then from 10 to 12, my most important task for the day gets done. So those are taken care of. So just being strategic with how you're using that time, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
It
right, right.
it's something that's been very helpful for me, because one thing I noticed about myself, if I'm not very specific about things that I need to do day in and day out, I kind of get like anxious and I feel like I'm like all over the place. So that schedule and like time blocking has been very helpful.
You sound like me.
Yeah. I think most of us are like that, man. When you're juggling like multiple things, it's easy to feel that way. But when you want to execute and you want to feel like, it's funny, like at times I can do a whole bunch of things, but I just felt like if I'm moving at a certain pace, I still feel all over the place, if that makes sense, even though you're getting things done.
It does. So for me, as long as I have a clear picture in my head of what I want to accomplish I kind of feel like I can accomplish anything. But if I have 19 pictures in my head, it's kind of hard. It's the same way I am when I write a rhyme. If I have a clear idea about what I want to write a rhyme about, it's easy. But if I open the pad and I don't know what I want to write about, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Um, how do you stay ahead of trends in the rapidly evolving music industry and ensure that Garden State hip hop remains relevant and impactful?
Hmm. Well, I mean, I try to go out. I still try to go to a lot of shows and a lot of events. Like I had the opportunity to hear Mark Echo, another Jersey guy who you should try to have on your show. Maybe T Dot can help you facilitate that, because that's how I met Mark.
Okay.
Just so that event was at the Bowery showroom, in Manhattan, and just tapping in with the younger cats that are running that, learning about some of the latest fashion trends and what the younger people, kind of like who I was in '09, what they're listening to. And just also, man, social media as well, like it's such a cool time in music with all the technology that younger people have and the type of platforms that they're creating to just put people on to stuff, and the way they're doing it is so fun and creative. Like, I came across a page of a guy, it's like just a music Instagram, and he's somewhere in Europe, and maybe you've seen it, like who'll ask somebody what's their favorite song right now, and then
Right.
he'll approach somebody else and have them put on headphones and rate that song, and he asks them the same question, and it
Uh-huh.
keeps on and on, and you're learning about different genres of music, what's hot,
Right.
so to answer that question, it's a combination of things. But for me, it's always just been being a part of the culture.
Hmm.
With me being a little bit older and obviously responsibilities changing, I really can't be out in the scene as much as I want to be. Even, I mean, like I turned 35 next week, and I went to an event last night, and I started getting tired at like 10:30. I'm like, damn. Like, I still feel young, but it's like, yo, you ready to go? I'm talking to my friends like, y'all ready to go? But,
Yeah.
still trying to be very much ingrained in culture and just, keeping my ear to the streets.
Hmm.
Hmm.
What's your definition of success?
Pursuing your passions, you know what I'm saying? Whether professionally or you just do it because that's what you do. So I guess success to me is just living like a very passionate life, you know?
I understand completely and I agree. Was there
Hmm.
ever a time when, considering your definition of success, was there ever a time you were successful but you didn't realize it? And how did you realize it, if so? Or did
Hmm.
you just kind of know all the time?
I think with the impact of Garden State hip hop.
Hmm.
Um, and then when I really started to like be more inconsistent with the platform, just out of frustration with like, where is this going? Where am I going with my pursuits? And really trying to, be a part of like the mainstream music world. Um, People were like, yo, like, what's up with the site? What are you doing? Are you doing another cipher? Are you hosting another concert? Like, people look forward to this stuff, and when you're at the crib putting hours into this, putting hours into that, planning, organizing, trying to make things happen, um, you don't realize that a lot of people appreciate that effort, that energy, and that passion.
Hmm.
So,
Facts.
yeah, I think just, and even now, just talking to you, it's like I was talking to the homie Dylan Green a few weeks ago. He's like, I think when it goes down, when it's all said and done, he's gonna go down as one of the best hip hop journalists of his era. You know what I'm saying? He's written for Pitchfork, DJ Booth, the list goes on and on. I think OK Player. And I put him on to the Garden State Hip Hop Ciphers, you know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't familiar, because I think Dylan may have been like in middle school when I was doing my thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like even creating something that, in a sense, has to aside from me being active now with certain projects, but creating work that kind of has stood the test of time and being able to share that and
Right.
people connecting with it. Um, and then, doing these interviews, getting press ops, and, I mean, yeah,
I can dig it. I love it. I love it.
yeah.
What's one thing about what you do that people probably have a misconception about? Or something that you do that might be difficult that they probably think is easier?
I wasn't really making money like that, you know what I'm saying? So I was literally taking like, money that I could have been saving and putting it towards like Jersey hip hop stuff and really trying to build something and really try to create nice events and nice projects to make people feel like stars, yo. Like really wanting guys to feel like they were on a BET set.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like make guys feel like they were doing a double XL cover shoot. Like I really wanted to create that for them, almost kind of like it's preparation for when you do break, because I believe in you that much.
right, right. I
You know what
love.
I'm saying? And then like years later, when I ended up going to those spaces and being on those sets, I'm like, damn, like, yo, I was doing this. Like I was doing this before it kind of,
Right.
people started doing it at this level, So, and, it was just me like caring, and without knowing that what I was trying to create, I was functioning as kind of like an industry professional
Right.
without really knowing it, just really trying to do right by people.
Mm. Do you I get this sense, but I could be completely wrong. Do you incorporate spirituality into anything that you do as far as your PR work?
Um, well, I think naturally I'm a spirit soul individual. So I think naturally there is something there. But I'm kind of like engaging with a lot of spiritual practices and different things like that now, just to like, I'll say this, I've always kind of felt like I've had like this spiritual religious tug, and now I'm beginning to embrace that part of me and
Mm-hmm.
I try to educate myself and understand different things. Like recently I hosted like a small intimate hip hop wellness workshop. We did some yoga, we did like some sound bowl healing and some other stuff. I definitely, when I do the second one, I definitely would like to have you a part of it.
I'd love to be a part of it.
So, nothing specifically, but I do identify as kind of like a spirit soul individual. So I think naturally there's something there.
There is.
Hmm. Thank you.
I can sense it. I can sense it, brother. Let me see what we got here. What's the most rewarding part of your work?
Man, it's just, you know, connecting with like-minded souls, seeing ideas become reality, and just like executing plans and just seeing people shine, man.
You know what? Your answer before this, when you said the set was like what you wanted it to be, then you actually ended up on the set. That's what prompted my spirituality question, because when I meditate, I have to visualize kind of what I was saying I was doing earlier. I have to see it in my head, and a lot of what I do is like almost like fake it until you make it. So you building that set and then it actually kind of getting to where you wanted it to be. I was like, oh, I wonder if he's a spiritual guy, and he kind of like saw that before it happened. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, if
I
you
guess in it, yeah, I mean, I guess in a sense I did,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, and I think that if you focus on it more, you might find that you have the gift for it, because you sounded like you did that almost unconsciously. But if you know, you might,
Hmm.
and all types of things happening, because I feel like you might be that type of guy.
Yeah, thank you.
No doubt, no doubt. Um, is there anything? So before I'm gonna get into some easier questions, but before I do that, is there anything that you want people to know about you, or what you do, or Garden State Hip Hop, or what you have coming up? Just anything that people need to know about you.
In reference to Garden State Hip Hop, I just want people to know that more content will be coming. Volume 1 and 2 of the First Verse live performance series is available. And I have some other exciting like original content projects in the works. It's just it's funny. I was having this conversation with T Dot not too long ago. It's just like the budget, and just again going back to it's either do it right or don't do it at all. That's always been my thing, you know, and just when you get more into like branding and aesthetics and how you want to represent not only, you know, your company, but other people, you know, it's that's very important to me. And, you know, good things and things that are important to you, they take time. So I can say the direction I'm taking Garden State Hip Hop is just really telling more compelling stories through original content. And, you know, as I said, you know, I have a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of things in the works. And, you know, we're just going to ease into it, but it will happen.
I like it. I like it. Give it up for that. All right, so some easy questions. What are you listening to right now?
All right, so we want to talk about hip hop right now.
No, it doesn't have to be hip hop.
Oh, it doesn't have to be hip hop. All right,
classical, could be an audiobook. Just what are you listening
okay,
to?
dope. You know, if I want some dance grooves and some nice vibes, I may put on some K Tronada.
Patronata, you saying?
Spirituality, yeah. I'm a big,
What's Patronata? I don't know.
K Tronada.
Oh, K Tronada. Tell me about it.
K Tronada is dope. I think he's Canadian. I believe so. And it's just, I mean, it's like a little bit of house, a little bit of funk, a little bit of electronic, like you know, he's a producer, DJ. And it's just dope, man. And to me, I think he's gotten to the point in his career where he's just linking up with all his favorite artists, like past and present. You know what I'm saying?
What K Tronada song should I play at the end of this show?
I'll tell you right now.
Give me some heat. So they say, not only was it a dope interview, I heard this dope ass song Rodney hit me up and told me about.
All right. Let's go with Intimidated featuring her.
Got it. I'm playing that as the outro.
Okay, dope.
What are you watching? Oh, sorry. Something else?
Oh no, yeah. So more music. Speaking of like spirituality and like spirit soul individuals, this guy Navy Blue. He's like super dope. So he has a song, he did a song a few years back with Earl Sweatshirt called Nobles. So that's how I got familiar with him. And then I just dug through his catalog, but just like the way he incorporates spirituality into hip hop, it's something that like I haven't heard from like newer artists. So it's like very refreshing. He gives me like a lot of like you know, it's like it's like a I don't know if this is good or bad to describe it this way, but like a hype beast version of like Native Tongues or like Soulquarians, you know, because it's
very intriguing.
Yeah. Like he has
Check him out based off that.
Yeah. So I think he's like really dope. And he used to be like a skateboarder who always wrote rhymes and then never really wanted to share his rhymes and built up the confidence to do it. And you know, I just think he has a message. I think it comes from a very raw, authentic place. And it's just like very soulful hip hop music. There's a couple joints. Yeah, I'll send you some links. He's got a couple joints that are fire.
Please.
So yeah, and who else? You got me scrolling right now. Who else am I bumping heavy? K Tronada, Navy Blue. Man, I listen to a lot of jazz too. Like I won't even hold you.
Who's your favorite jazz artist?
Right now, I'll probably have to give it to a group called Butcher Brown.
They're current. I thought you were gonna say old school cast.
Oh, all time? I mean, all time, I would probably say Miles,
Hmm.
but like some of like his stuff, like the more funkier stuff, and then when he got kind of like into rock, and then I think he went from funk, the whole like fusion rock stuff, and then like in the 80s, I think more of like the more of like fusion stuff started coming like in the late 80s, early 90s. So I would say all time Miles. Like, Miles's last album before he passed, that was like a fusion hip hop album.
Yeah, yeah. I have his autobiography right.
Oh, I gotta read it.
Bruh. Yeah, it's one of my favorite autobiographies of all time. I love autobiographies. Those are my favorite types of books.
So I got a story for you. So I took my dad and my uncle to see to the premiere of Miles Ahead, which is the movie that
Yeah,
Don
that's
Cheadle
fine.
played in.
That's
So
fine.
they had a premiere at the Paramount Theater here in Asbury Park. So we went to the premiere. It was his nephew Vince who played drums in his band, Don Cheadle, one of the executive producers, and somebody else involved with the film. We watched the film. They did a Q&A afterwards, and then they had like a little cocktail hour afterwards. So me, my dad, and my uncle were just chilling at the bar. And next thing you know, and I mean, we were like some of the few brothers at the spot, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Vince, so he's like, yo, take my number. Let's keep in touch. And I'm like, at the time, I'm not even working in music. So I'm just like, I don't know why I would need your number, but sure, you could give it to me. So he puts
Yeah.
his phone number in my phone. Like a year and a half, or maybe 2 years after that, I'm watching Miles's documentary on Netflix,
Uh-huh.
and Vince gets interviewed. So I shoot him a text. I'm like, yo, my name is such and such. We met at the premiere. I'm watching this doc about your uncle, and I saw that you were interviewed. I hope all is well, like many blessings. He didn't respond with words, but he sent me back the hands touching the praying hands emoji.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it, right? So that's my connection to Miles Davis.
Yeah. He probably wrote thank you and then that emoji popped up. So
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll take it.
that's super dope story. Um, so yeah, speaking of books, because we kind of had went there, what are you reading right now?
Oh man, I'm looking at my library right now. So I'm wrapping up the Five Principles by Stick from Dead Prez.
Ah, I have one of his books too.
Yo, I reconnected. I always went back to Dead Prez and their music, but I reconnected with Stick and like where he's at right now when we got hit with the pandemic. And
Yeah.
he's on the fit hop wave now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For sure. Yeah.
So that like got me through the pandemic in terms of like just keeping my mind and like my body right.
Yeah.
The workout is the name of the album that's on Apple Music. And just learning more about his path to spirituality and mindfulness and health, him having gout and him making this paradigm shift in his mind, which connects to Dead Prez and their legacy.
Right.
And him writing this book, ultimately telling his life story and just giving people such as myself who've always felt like they had the tug, just how to kind of like walk that path.
Right. Right. Shout
Yep.
out to Stickman.
Shout out to Stick, man.
So I don't have
Yeah.
that. I was I misquoted myself. I buy so many hip hop autobiographies. I thought I bought that too. I saw it. I just forgot about it. I'm gonna have to get it. Shout out to Stick. But yeah,
You know another dope book? I'll grab it right now.
please, please.
So this is a coffee table book. I had my family get this for me for Christmas. You can't see it. Afro Surf. Can you see that?
I can see it now.
Yeah. So this tells the story of surfing, the history of surfing on the continent of Africa.
What?
Yeah. So this is a dope coffee table book. Like I look at it every now and then. But it's an incredible book to have in your library.
That is crazy. Oh,
Yeah.
but I only say it's crazy because a few interviews ago I had a brother named Kyle Raps on the show. Do you know Kyle?
Yeah. He's big into like surf culture and connecting it with hip hop. Yeah.
So yeah, so he was telling me a story about these group of black people in California that taught him how to surf, but he was saying they gave him this whole story about black people surfing in California, and that it's a whole history that wasn't real. I didn't know about it, so it's cool for you to be like, Africa, you took it even deeper.
Yeah, it's dope, man. So one of the forces behind this book is Sal Masekela, Salema Masekela. He goes by now. And of course, Salema is Hugh Masekela's son, the jazz musician, go grazing in the grass. And if you remember Sal, if you grew up watching the X Games like I did as a kid, he was the commentator with the dreadlocks.
Already know.
Yeah, so he's one of the forces behind the book. And there's this whole initiative on the continent where, they're being more involved and ingrained in the surf culture there, skating culture. So it's just beautiful to see, man. And it's, again, going back to the conversation we had about Rolling Stone magazine and rock and roll, this is the important information, and just like if we're looking at the political climate we're in society as a country, like now more than ever is it's imperative to have some sense of identity, some self-knowledge, because they're literally trying to take it away from us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just not our culture. That's everybody, man, because these stories, it's intertwined with how we got here presently.
Right. You spitting facts right now, brother.
Yeah.
What are you watching right now?
What am I watching? I think the Bear season 3 came out, so I'm trying to catch up on that. But what else? Like, not a whole lot of TV, man. I'll say this, more like really good like movies. Like I finally watched Escape from Alcatraz, the Clint Eastwood joint from like the early 1970s.
I think I remember it. I'm pretty sure it's like super famous, right? Gotta be. It's Eastwood.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's like in like the film, how Capitol Hill does that, like.
Yeah.
But anyway, like films like that. I'm getting into samurai culture, so I watched a movie I've recommended to a lot of friends called 13 Assassins remake, and it's a samurai movie, and I compare it to 300 in a sense where it's like a small group of 13 samurais, evil dictator taking over territories, but this one like badass samurai assembles this team, and the evil dictator's like main enforcer, they came up in the ranks together. And it wasn't the fact, and he was an older cat too, so it wasn't like he's this young like dude. It was more about just his will and desire to win. And because of that, he always succeeds. Oh, it's not just like his speed, his strength, his aggression. It's just the willpower. Oh, here we have this big army, but they're being led, these assassins are being led by this one guy who was no joke. So it's a dope film. I think that's on Amazon Prime. So I would recommend that to any of your listeners and you.
Is it subtitles or
Yes, subtitles.
It's called 13 Warriors, do you say?
13 Assassins.
Sounds like my type of show.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of movies. Another show, I finished Snowfall a few months back. I finally caught up on that.
Do you watch Shogun?
I started Shogun. I got to get back into Shogun.
It's that show.
And I really like it, but just making time for TV and stuff, I got to get back into Shogun. Yeah.
How do we make time? Sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, you probably are, but when I watch too much TV, I start feeling guilty, like I should be getting stuff done.
I don't feel that way with TV, but I have to admit I'm still a gamer.
What are you playing?
So when I turn, a game I just bought, it's funny. Before I was like out of the console game, and then my lady got me an Xbox, last Christmas, which was really dope. Like she just surprised me with it. But obviously, some of the sports games, but really I got into like some of the more like adventure stuff. So a game called Sifu, that's like a samurai game.
Okay.
That's really dope. And the graphics are ill. And like growing up, I was like mostly sports and GTA.
Uh-huh.
But now I'm tapping in. Like I got the Batmans, I got that whole series. That's fire. I got that Sifu game and then like some zombie games. So it's funny, like growing up, I wasn't really into that stuff, but as an adult, I guess I'm like getting more into, just like because they've taken like video games and just the graphics so far. It's even just fun to just like look at them. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So I think just me being a creative person, just appreciating like those like animation elements and just how like the graphics and stuff is just crazy. And it's
Right.
just cool. They're almost like visual experiences, like watching a movie almost.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
What are you seeing as far as where we're heading in the world today? Let me put these
Oh man.
put three together. What are you seeing, hearing, and feeling about where we're heading towards in the future?
I'm seeing more and more division. I'm hearing more noise. It's just noise. It's just a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
And you said feeling?
Yeah.
I mean, naturally I'm an optimistic and then I can be very idealistic at times. I don't want to say fearful because I'm not fearful, but I'll say that there is a sense of fear because as things continue to happen, we realize how many foolish people we have in the world, and that's scary.
Mm.
That's like the scary thing is just like people just don't want to think and be practical or think critically about things. It's just like so that in itself is very scary. And me, as someone who's naturally been very passionate about a lot of socio-political issues and just it always like touched me a different way. I've tried to really compose myself and keep those emotions in check because at times I wasn't very practical. I was just having a conversation with a friend the other day. I was the guy, if I saw something online, I'm arguing with the stranger in a Facebook or a Twitter thread for like a half hour.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's all energy, and just knowing the things I've been able to accomplish in my life, I can put that energy towards more constructive things. So, for example, when we were hit with everything related to George Floyd and the social unrest, I partnered with the local police department where I live to create an after school program to help improve relations between youth that live in that particular neighborhood, the parents, and local law enforcement.
I had to hit it. Yo, Rodney, this is big orange applause button, and I can't help it. Every time I hear you say I'm hot, I gotta be like,
Appreciate that. So it's like I'm gonna be collaborating with the Phoenix, which is a national nonprofit organization that prioritizes mindfulness and wellness for people in recovery, whether it be substance, substance abuse, alcoholism, so on and so forth, for like a music and wellness summit. You know what I'm saying? Where we're going to have panel discussions, keynote speakers, and live performers whose art, embodies a lot of those principles and the ethos of the Phoenix, if you will.
right, right.
So just putting my energy into those things to be, not to sound corny and cliche, to be that change you want to see in the world. You know what I'm saying? So based on everything you just asked me, that's kind of like where I am. Like, how am I spending my time? Where am I putting this energy? How am I leveraging my resources and my relationships to do something positive?
Right, right. I love it. I love it. What? You know what? I think you answered that perfectly, so I don't need to ask a follow-up. So, all right, so we got into the fun part. Well, actually, we're at the fun part. So this is the last part, actually, I should say. So now we're at the part where I give you a word and you just say the first word that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yup.
Light.
Shine.
Black.
Powerful.
Universe.
Limitless.
Synchronicity.
Fellowship.
Flat Earth.
Wild.
Tsunami.
Disaster.
Water.
Essential.
Love.
Strength.
Jealousy.
Evil.
And lastly, New Jersey.
Oh.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yo, give it up for Rodney Coursey. Yo, my brother, this has been one of my favorite interviews. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I know you had a lot of things to do. You could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you were here with me. So I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks for having me, man. This is like one of the best interviews I've ever done too, man. And it just, it felt good to finally talk to you and connect this way and just have a conversation, man. And it just felt so natural and so easy.
Yo, thank you, brother. Thank you. Sounds good. We'll have to connect after this. I'm going to end the meeting now, but just chop it up for a bit before I let you go for the day. But
Sure.
My name is Cymarshall Law. He is Rodney Coursey. We represent New Jersey. We love y'all. Peace, love, and positive. Wait. Where can they find you, Rodney? Good thing I remembered.
At Rodney GSHH on Instagram, www.gardenstatehiphop.com, of course. At G State Hip Hop on Twitter, you can follow that page, and at Garden State Hip Hop on Instagram as well.
Boom. Cymarshall Law. He's Rodney Coursey. We love y'all. Peace, love, and positive energy. And we out like that. Peace.
Peace. Yeah, that was dope.